Good, you ready? Let's go.
Good job. Stay. Leave it. Good. Down. Stay.
Okay, place.
Down. Stay. It's okay. It's just a fly. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it.
Okay, Misty, come. Good. Okay.
Hi, this is Ashley from Top Dog Training and Resort. We just showed you everything that Misty's learned since she's been here. And now I'm going to walk you through step by step how to give each command and then how to correct her if she does not comply the first time you ask. Or if she does something that we're trying to get her to do less often, like jump up or nip. We're also going to give a correction for her, which we'll talk about. Remember, with the commands, there's going to be two parts. One, the command, and then the release word, which is okay. Okay frees her up from the command, lets her do whatever she wants until you tell her what to do next. So when you go to give her a command, you want to make sure you're standing right in front of her, you're facing her, you're getting her attention before you tell her what you want her to do. And then we're also going to do a hand signal for some of the commands as well as the verbal commands. So for sit, the hand signal is going to be palm up towards the sky as we say the word sit. So I'm going to encourage her to get up, then I'm going to turn and face her, tell her what I want, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Sit. Good. Okay.
So if she does it the first time, no corrections are needed and you would just praise her. If she does not sit the first time you ask, sit, then you say ah. And if she still doesn't sit, you're going to pop and release straight up with the leash. Good girl. And you want to make sure, even if you've corrected her, that you still praise her once she does comply. So any command, if she doesn't comply the first time, you give that verbal reprimand, that that's a warning. Another 1-2 seconds if she still hasn't fixed herself with that, then you correct with the leash. So for sit, I don't know if you could see, it's going to be straight up and down, pop and release motion with your wrist, with the leash and the prong collar. Just pop and release. You can repeat that until she sits, and then the correction stop, and you praise her. You can repeat the correction, but not the command.
Okay.
So for down, again, you're going to face her when you tell her. You're going to tell her down, and your hand signal is going to be a palm towards the ground when you tell her.
Okay, Misty. Misty. Come on. Okay.
First, I'll put her in a sit. Sit. Good. Down. Good girl.
Okay.
So of course, again, if you tell her the first time and she does it right away, no corrections are needed. If she wasn't to lay down, remember you're going to use that first, and then the correction with the leash for down is going to be at a 45-degree angle towards the ground. So of course you wouldn't hold the leash here, but I'm just doing it so I don't correct her because she doesn't need it. And you're going to pop and release at a 45-degree angle towards the floor until she lays down, then stop the corrections and praise her.
Okay.
For a place command, which is going to be a bed, designated area that you want her to go on, a lot of the times we'll tell her to lay down because she's more inclined to hold it down, but as long as all 4 paws are on the place, she's good to go. So when we go to tell her place, the hand signal for that is going to look like a swooping motion with your hand or your finger. You're just going to present it to her as you say place. Misty! Place! Good girl. Down. Good job. If she weren't to place, again, you want to tell her, if she doesn't do it, and then you can give a little pop and release with the leash towards the place bed, whatever you want her to be on. And then the stay command. So the stay command tells her to stay in whatever position I put her in, either a place, a sit, or a down, stay. And then the hand signal is going to be a palm towards her muzzle. So you're going to tell her stay. And then you can walk a little bit away. You want to start slowly, increasing your distance. Start just a step or 2 away at first, then come back. Then you release her and do it again, and then slowly increase that distance, as well as the duration that you expect her to hold to stay and the distractions that are around. So start slow in a quiet room and then build her up. So a stay is extra important with that release word, that you go back to her after the stay, you praise her, you give her a treat, and then you release her with, okay. Now she's free to do what she wants. Of course, if she decides to keep laying there, it's not a problem, but okay is she's free now to do what she wants until you are ready to go on with the next command. Do not correct her if she chooses to stay there after you say okay. All right. And then the leave it command is going to be anytime she gets fixated on something else and you want her to return her focus back to you. So in the demonstration, you saw I threw treats on the ground and told her to leave it, and I'm expecting her to put her focus back on me. And then when she does that, you would reward her or praise her for that. And if you tell her to leave something and she does it, again, same steps. You're going to give her the verbal reprimand, and then you would pop and release with the leash towards you to get her attention back on you. And make sure you reward her, praise her when she does give you her attention. And then the drop it command is going to be used for, of course, if she has something in her mouth. We like to play drop it, swap it. So you would have 2 toys of similar value to her, 2 tennis balls, 2 plush toys. Throw one to her, let her have it in her mouth, show her that other toy, tell her to drop it. As soon as she drops the first toy, you'll throw that second toy. So it's going to be like an ongoing game for her. And she's learning that if I drop something, she's going to get something in return. So it'll come in really handy when she has something possibly dangerous that she needs her to drop. And make sure you reward very, very heavily when she does drop something. And the correction for that, if you have her on leash and she doesn't want to drop something, it's just going to be a pop and release, straight up with the leash and the prong collar.
Okay, good girl, Misty.
So now we're going to work on coming when called, recalls. So that's really important. You're going to use her name first, always. It's going to be Misty, come, with an outstretched arm in towards your body, encouraging her all the way into you. Because the command begins when you call her name, and it ends with her coming and sitting right in front of you. So all the way into you, you're going to be encouraging her. So you'll see me demonstrate that now, and then I'm going to reward her when she comes and sits in front of me. Misty, come. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Good. Okay. She sees a fly or something, so she's a little distracted. I'm going to do that again. But like you see, I am encouraging her the whole way to keep focused on me and rather than other things along the way. And then with my hand signal, I'm bringing it in and up to encourage her to sit. Misty, come. Good girl. That girl. Okay. You want to make sure she sits. It's not completed until she sits. So if she comes to you and doesn't sit, give that and then correct straight up for the sit. Do that again. Misty! Misty, come! Good girl! That's a girl. That was a good one. Okay. So nice and loud, big, animated when you call her to come. She's got to choose to come to you rather than do anything else. So be really big and exciting. So especially for a puppy, it's really important that she's excited to hear her name, excited to come to you. So best times to practice are playtime and feeding time, because there's always going to be a really big payoff for her in it, because you always want her to hear Misty come and be really excited. You don't want to call her to come and then you trim her nails or give her a bath, and then the next time you call her to come when you really need her to, she has that second thought. Last time I came to mom or dad, something bad happened. It was like, it was bath time, something she didn't like. So we want to try to only use Misty come for good things. As well as her name. You want to try not to use her name as a reprimand. We would use the for that, because again, you want her to hear Misty and be really excited. You don't want her to be like, oh gosh, what did I do now? Right, girl? Okay. So now we're going to be working on heeling, walking on leash. The command for that is going to be let's go. The visual signal for that is going to be a pat to your left leg as you lead off. So you'll say let's go. It initiates the walk. And now if she were to go out in front or out to the side too much, that would be correction. So with the leash, it's just going to be a pop and release back where you want her to be. So if she's out too far in front, you can pop and release back towards your hip. If she's far out to the side, pop and release back towards your hip, back where you want her to be. And make sure that the leash goes slack when she is right next to you, because any tension on that leash is going to be a correction to her. And then when you come to a stop, she's expected to sit next to you. If she forgets to sit, you're going to do the same list of reprimands. You first give her that to remind her if she still hasn't sat. Remember the correction with the leash for sit is going to be straight up between her ears until she sits, and then stop the corrections and make sure you praise her. Misty! So we'll show you what that looks like.
Okay.
Misty, good girl. So I will start her on my left. Misty, sit. Good. Leave it. Let's go. Good girl. She's right next to me. Nice slack in your leash. It's okay. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good job. So I just reminded her right there at the end to sit. She was getting a little distracted. So now we'll do that again. Misty, let's go. Good girl. It's okay. Good girl. I'm trying to encourage her as she's lagging behind. She's just a little distracted. Good girl. Good girl. Good job. Okay. Other things you can do to keep your walk exciting, especially if she's getting distracted from you, because she is a puppy and it's going to happen. Sometimes going for a long walk can be just really monotonous for her, especially if she's expected to stay at your side, which we would recommend. So keeping it exciting for her and keeping her engaged with you rather than everything else, come to random stops. So you're encouraging her to sit next to you and kind of recheck in with you before you continue walking. And also doing what's called a 180-degree correction. So that's if you're walking along, she might be a little distracted, foraging out in front of you. All you do is take your leash and you make a 180-degree turn in the opposite direction. So if you're walking this way, you're going to pivot on your right foot and turn completely opposite direction. As you do that, it's going to correct her with the leash, and she's going to be, it's going to cause her to be much more focused on you and engaged with you, because she's not going to want to miss out on you making a turn and then get a correction for it. So it's going to cause her to pay a lot more attention to you and where you're moving. And if you can repeat that 180-degree correction a few times. So if you're walking along a little bit, you do one, everything's good, she's back at your side, she's engaged with you, she starts to forage again, make another quick turn and keep walking. Because walks can, again, become monotonous and long for a puppy especially. So work your training into it and make her work a little bit more for it. And now the off command, that's going to be used if she jumps up on you guys, other people, or furniture. You're going to use the word off, as well as a downwards leash correction. So if she has that prong collar and leash on, you're going to pop and release towards the ground. Nice sharp little pop. And then you want to ask her to sit. We're teaching her a proper way to greet us rather than jumping. So we want her to sit before she gets any attention, any love, rather than jumping up. The worst thing you can do when she jumps up is to push her off of you and to love on her or just touch her in any way, because that's giving her what she's looking for. So if you don't have a leash on her or not able to correct her with the prong collar right then and there, just simply lift your knee up so she's not getting any hands-on attention, and then continue to ask her to sit before you put your hands on her and love on her. And you want to make sure everybody she comes in contact with is going to do the same. So if people come over to the house, have her leash on, be prepared to correct her if she needs to, have her sit before she greets the guests, all that stuff, because you don't want her to realize that she can jump on some people but not others, because then she's much more likely to try to get away with it with everybody. Isn't that right? Okay, you did so good. Good girl.